The next example is just a calculator example. This will be pretty quick. So if you want to find the inverse of a 3 by 3, I'm not going to make you do that by hand. It's way too complicated. So we're just going to resort to the calculator in this case. Now, so here's what you do. My calculator is a little bit different. So I went under my matrix key. You go into your matrix key and you'll see this, right? Go over to Edit and choose whatever one you want. And make sure you're going to type this in. So this is a 3 by 3, so make sure your dimensions up here are 3 by 3. And put them in. Put all the values in there. So just take a minute, pause the video, put all the values in. Okay. Now, let's quit. Remember, we always have to quit when we do stuff with matrices. Go back into Matrix. We're going to go to Math. Actually, no, we don't need to do this. I'm sorry. All we need to do is find, what are we looking for? We're trying to find the inverse. So really, if I had my pen up here, really we could do A inverse. So if this is A, alright, let's do this real quick. If this is A, we're looking for the inverse. So use a graph calculator to find the inverse of A. Well, how does that look? It looks like this. A inverse. Remember, this means right here, the inverse of A. So all we have to do is type in our calculator A inverse, because we already put this in as matrix A is equal to this. So all you need to do is go get A and then say to the -1 power and it will give you the inverse of A right here. So if this is A, it will give you it. So let's go back to that. Go back to your calculator, and all you have to do is go back into matrix key, go hit A, so under names, hit enter, and all we have to do is get a -1 power up here. So you can hit this key right here, x to the -1 power, right there. So that says the inverse of A. That's what we want. Hit enter. Now, you got this matrix right here. This is also a, 3 by 3. 3 rows, 3 columns. Okay. If you don't like that, a lot of times I don't like decimal, you could actually change these decimals to fractions if you just go hit Math, Frac, just like you do normally. And it actually changes them. So that's nice. 12, -7, 3, -20, so on and so on. So write this matrix down. This is the inverse of this. Kind of like 1/2 is the inverse of 2. Alright? Or 2/3 is the inverse of 3/2. Those are inverse of each other. How do you know that this is the inverse of this? You remember? Alright, do that. How do you figure it out if just numbers? Just numbers, what's 2/3 times its inverse? It's 1. What's 1/2 times its inverse of 2? 1. Same idea here. Let's take this guy, times that by, so the answer here, times that by this guy, which is just A. So let's go back and get A. So we took this times A. So basically we took A inverse times A. Look what we get. 1, 1, 1 down here. Everything else zeros. This is the identity matrix. This is like the number 1. Okay, for a 3 by 3, not for a 2 by 2, it's just 1, 0, 0, 1. For a 3 by 3, the 1s are all in the diagonal. Okay, and everything else is 0. Alright, so that's how I know that those two things, this thing and this thing, are inverses of each other. Because when you multiply them together, you always get this identity matrix. What if I multiply them backwards? You think it would be the same? Yes, it will be. Only for this kind of stuff, when you multiply inverses of each other. No matter if it's forwards or backwards, you will get the identity matrix right here. Okay, that's it for example 3.